Good evening, friends.
Good evening.
We are pleased to come through once again to bring you a few words of comfort, a few words of hope. We know where your thoughts have been during these hours, and we know how your prayers have gone out for those who are victims of the unrest and the terrorism that there is around. In your world today, there are so many problems that didn't exist in the old days when I lived upon the earth plane. And yet there have always been problems for mankind. There has never been a period in the history of man since he first began to understand, when he first began to query the things that he saw, when he first began to realize that there was a force that was more than his own experience could contain. The problems over the centuries have been made by man, but in the solving of them, so many men have gained the knowledge and the experience that they needed. Spirit is manifest in all branches of life. It has been manifest since life first began upon the earth plane. But spirit has existed before there was life on earth. And in coming to earth, in taking upon yourselves a body, whatever form life has taken, so there have been trials, difficulties, problems to be solved. Because earth has been, in some respects, a school of learning. You may think that where you are today shows that you have not assimilated any of that learning. And yet there is so much that you can accept that would have been unthinkable even 100 years ago, let alone the millions since man has first developed, and the many more millions since life first came upon earth. It is through the struggle, through these experiences that seem to darken your lives, that you will make the spiritual progress, which is the reason for you coming to earth. You understand so much today that was a complete mystery to me and my generation when I lived upon the earth plane. But there is so much more knowledge awaiting man. You are suffering today in your world because knowledge is widespread. You cannot live your lives completely separate from the remainder of your fellow men and women. You cannot even live in your country without knowing what goes on in other countries. A few 100 years ago, it would have been an adventure for someone to go even from your village to London, and the thought of travelling any further was completely unheard of. All these things represent progress in a physical sense, but they also carry weight in a spiritual sense as well. Sometimes I feel that we are just repeating what has already been said, but I think you want to keep in your minds the realization that what happens upon the earth plane is completely unknown in so many respects to you. Your knowledge is limited to what you read, to what you see, to what you are told. And it is only if you are in the midst of a particular set of circumstances that you really know the truth of what is going on. Always remember that news is usually given to you when it is bad. The good news gets ignored or passed by. But because you are given a diet of bad news over and over again, so it has an effect upon those who are weak, those who are afraid, those who do not accept their destiny upon earth, and who are discontented with their lot. If only we could make men realize that if the good news could be spread in the same way that the bad, a lot of the troubles that affect the earth plane would not exist. I feel I am repeating what has already been said in many different ways, and yet it is a fact that can bear repeating. You have been urged so many times to spread the good, to look for the good in other people, to realize that everything that has life is a part of God, to accept the responsibilities of your lives, knowing that in performing those responsibilities, in accepting the circumstances that come along, in regarding your life as an adventure, you will be developing your character, your soul. You will be leading yourself into the path that is best for you. It was probably easier in the old days, when people's knowledge was so limited. But because it is more difficult today, so there is the opportunity for you to make more progress as we come from time to time. We always bring with us love to each one of you. We always urge you to pass that love on, to love your fellow men and women, to love the world of nature, to love the animal kingdom, to love the God that is within everything that has life. And in loving it, you will find that you love yourself. You will find that you have love to spare. I leave you with these few thoughts, giving each one of you my blessing and the blessing of those who are linked to you from Spirit. You were true when you spoke about a feeling of peace here, because there is a band from the spirit world gathered around you. If you could see them, you would realize how truly blessed you are. Each one of you will take that blessing with you. Each one of you will play your part in making sure that the world is a better place when you leave it than when you entered. Good night, and God bless you all.
Thank you. God bless you.